Hello, everyone. I'm Brian, and today I am going to repeat an episode, an earlier episode of The Brian Snow Show. And the reason I'm doing it, you hear it in my voice. As I explained this morning, I lost a very dear friend, and I tried so hard just to get myself back in shape mentally and soldier forward. And now I just feel like, at least today, I can't I can't go on this afternoon, and I know Alvin would have wanted me to. I know he would have. But I'm going to take this time to grieve with my family, and I'll be back soon. I love y'all. The thing is, until you can erase 3 Februarys, shut up. Bang! Quality over quantity. LeBron has beaten some of the best competition in NBA history. He's the GOAT emoji. I will not cuss. I will not cuss. I will not swear. I will not swear.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
Good afternoon and welcome in to the latest and greatest edition of the Brian Snow Show, where sports is the base, life and fun are the result. We're presented by BetUS.com and Invader Coffee. We're here to bring you the best in sports and pure, unadulterated entertainment. I am Brian Snow, and together we'll embark on a journey that celebrates the power of sports to uplift, inspire, and unite us all. Well, I got some good guests for you this afternoon, as during our, and I'm trying to find who I go. Eric Smith from the BS3 Network will join me for hour one. And I have a taped conversation with Dan Levely. That'll be hour two, and that will close out the proceedings this afternoon. Just got the slate. Got a couple things to address as we go around the horn. We start in Baltimore, where Odell Beckham Jr. is making his way back from a debilitating ACL injury, and he's treating that like this could be his last season. Beckham told The Athletic in an article published Monday, quote, "I'm thinking like this is my last year. I'm going to give it my all this year. Then if something happens after that, we'll go from there," close quote. Quote again, "I went through a lot the last couple of years and I thought it was over. I didn't want to get back up on the horse and do the same song and dance all over again," close quote. The 30-year-old is set to play with his fourth different team in 6 seasons. The three-time Pro Bowl selection and winner of the Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2014, Beckham is now looking to revive his career with Baltimore and star with one Lamar Jackson. I shouldn't, but I am.
You fool!
Jordan Addison has been cited for driving 140 miles an hour for a dog emergency. His dog is having an emergency at home. The updated citation includes misdemeanor charges for speeding and reckless driving. According to the citation, a patrol officer observed Addison driving eastbound on I-94 Thursday at just after 3 a.m. at an extremely high rate of speed, later clocked at 140 miles an hour. The posted speed limit in the area is 55. Driving a Lamborghini with dealer license plates, Addison first slowed down when he saw police lights from another trooper who was pulled over on the right side of the road. The 21-year-old, who was the number 23 pick of the 2023 draft, issued a public apology a day later, saying he made a mistake and used poor judgment. Gee, you think? You think he used poor judgment, man? You know, these rookies need 2 symposiums, not just one. They need 2. They need 2 symposiums to show them the stupidity of their decisions. Would be the second one. And believe me, and it's got to be some kind of what is the word I'm looking for? Consequence. There's got to be some sort of consequence for stuff like this. Period. A group of star NFL running backs gathered for a video meeting Saturday night to address what they see as a disturbing trend impacting the top players at their position. This is via usatoday.com. Organized by Austin Eckler of the San Diego Chargers, the Zoom gathering included Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb, and other big names as they discussed several recent incidents of NFL teams taking a hard line on giving established running backs big money contracts. Nick Chubb told reporters, quote, "Right now it's just talking. There's really nothing we can do. We're kind of handcuffed with the situation. But the biggest thing is that we're at a position where our production hurts us the most. If we go out there and run for 2,000 yards with so many carries, the next year you're going to say you're probably worn down. They're going to say you're probably worn down. That's the biggest thing I took from it," close quote. Well, depends on the player. Depends on the player and what they do the following year. Simply put, it just depends on the player and what they do the following year. That's my take on it. That's Around the Horn. To the Fanatic Feedback Zone we go, and Victor Locke is here. Good afternoon, my brother Snowman. Victor, I may need to have you up at the end of the hour for some matter of fact, I'll have Victor at the top of hour 2 for some random musings. I'm totally improvising here, but I will do that. Play-by-play with JJ, my buddy Jason Joseph is here. And JJ, I may want to have you Wednesday afternoon. I will tell you the time as we go along here. and I may get Eric up here early. Um, matter of fact, I'm going to call an audible. In fact, my producer hates when I do this, but I'm going to call an audible and get Eric up here as soon as possible. So let's take a break, and when we come back, Eric Smith will join me. Back after this. The thing is, until you can erase 3 Februaries, shut up.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is The Brian Snow Show.
Thursday nights are wrestling night on CSTV. Tune in every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific to see all the amazing Next Level Pro Wrestling stars on Thursday Night Throwdown on CSTVNow.com and the CSTV app on your Roku device.
PK Tire Pros, your one-stop on-the-spot auto service headquarters for a complete line of quality tires and auto services. For years, we have provided the Stockton, California area with the latest products and unprecedented services for everything we sell. And for years, our customers have been coming back. Take a look around. If you don't find what you need, visit us in Stockton, California. From the latest and best in tire technology to the services required to keep your vehicle looking good and running great, PK Tire Pros can get you out on the road quickly and at an affordable price. Stop by soon and see why so many people consider PK Tire Pros to be the one-stop shop for all of their tire needs. At PK Tire Pros, our friendly and knowledgeable staff, quick and dependable service professionals, and affordable prices all come together to make driving out on a new set of tires easy. On top of that, we never tire of tires. Stop by and see us, and you'll be glad you did.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is The Brian Snow Show.
And when you host 2 award-winning shows, you kind of get you kind of run yourself ragged, but I plan not to do it with these 2 shows. Portions of this is sponsored by Recruiting Giants. Our mission is to connect exceptional talent with exceptional companies. We strive to provide innovative and tailored staffing solutions to help organizations build successful teams. By leveraging our expertise and extensive network of industry professionals, we aim to drive growth, foster long-term partnerships, and positively impact the success of both our clients and candidates. We are dedicated to delivering exceptional service, exceeding expectations, and becoming the preferred staffing partner for businesses looking to recruit top talent. For more information, email my buddy Mark Zanetto at info@recruitinggiants.com or call 336-587-3659. That's 336-587-3659. Recruiting Giants, where talent meets opportunity. Eric Smith is on the way at the bottom of the hour. I just shot him a way to check in, and all right, I have the description, and I'm waiting for him to check in right now. But while we wait for him, the NBA Board of Governors approves Michael Jordan's sale of the Charlotte Hornets. After 13 years, Michael Jordan says, "I'm out. and walks away with billions of dollars. He agreed to sell the team on June 16th. When an NBA owner decides to sell, however, it must be approved by the NBA's Board of Governors. Jordan's decision to sell leaves the NBA without a black majority owner. Oh, really? You had to put that in there? You had to put that in that article? Now the hype train is really going to go out of control when it concerns this. Yeah, if this leaves the NBA without a black majority owner, okay, well, maybe some black majority owners didn't want to get involved. You don't want to get involved just to get. You don't want to get own a team just to own a team. There's a lot of work that goes into that goes into it. A lot. And he just decided, okay, I've done the job to the best of my ability, and I'm getting out of here. He just said, okay, thank you. He's like, thanks, but no thanks. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do this another year. I do not want to do this another year. So what? It leaves the NBA without a majority black owner. The hype is going to be real now with that subject and that subject alone, because you want to have, if you have a team, you want to have the right people in place. So your team can, first and foremost, be competitive throughout the course of a regular season. The sale price is reportedly around $3 billion. Let me repeat that figure again. The sale price for the Charlotte Hornets, for Michael Jordan sticking as a majority owner in the Charlotte Hornets, is around $3 billion. I don't see any problem with that. If you're going to sell a team for $3 billion and get out, see ya. I'm out. Let someone offer me $3 billion. I'll take it, but I'll have some provisions to it. I'm still going to run this joint. But I'm also going to put the right people in place to do it properly. I am just now getting a team together production-wise. And I'm starting to like not having to carry the entire load of running my company, broadcasting the games, and making sure the production of the shows is on point. Because I got to tell you, before I brought Cole aboard as my EP, I was lacking big time. The only thing I wasn't lacking is content, but I was inconsistent as all hell. I was inconsistent. I said it, and I meant every word of it. I was inconsistent as hell. Now that's changing. A little bit at a time. It is changing, and thank God it is. Because I didn't know how much longer, especially after I met Jody, I didn't know how much longer I would be able to steer the ship. And steering the ship was like my biggest concern, but now I realize I have other concerns. But they're not, but they're slowly not becoming concerns anymore because I'm getting the right people in place. Building the foundation, as Victor would say. Slowly building the foundation. You know, the best part about building this foundation, when you get the right people involved. Like my buddy Victor, who was my on-site engineer for 17 years. And he still controls things, in a manner of speaking, from the world headquarters in Chicago. You want to get the right people in place when you own a company, or in this case, own a team. And if you're not it, get out. Sell your stake and get out. But you know where this story is going to turn? It's going to turn on the fact that there is no majority black owner in the NBA. Okay, what? Are the right people in place to run your team? Should be the question. Okay? I'd take the $3 million and run in a heartbeat. What's the problem? And it's the hype train about this particular subject is real. All too real. All too real. And when I say the hype train about this particular subject is real, I mean just that. I mean just that. For me, it is always about having the right people in place to run a franchise. Doesn't matter what color, black, white, whatever. Michael took a shot at it. He was the majority owner for 13 years, and now he's gone. But he's $3 billion richer. I mean, he ruled the NBA for 15 years, became the greatest player of all time. He didn't make good decisions as an owner. True. Not going to gloss over that. Can't gloss over that. The proof is in the pudding. But he walks away $3 billion richer. Say that again. $3 billion richer. For doing something for 13 years that no one thought he would ever do. And that is be a black majority owner in the NBA. My guess is he's also seeing the handwriting on the wall when it comes to the team. Part of it he had a hand in. Let's be totally real about it. Part of it he had a hand in. But be honest. Wouldn't you be happy if someone offered you $3 billion to sell your stake in the team so you can ride off in the sunset? Hell yeah, I would. I don't care what void it left. If I was the owner of the Hornets and nothing was going on and someone offered me $3 billion, where do I sign? I'll retire with Jody and ride off into the sunset and wouldn't say another word. I wouldn't say another word. But again, it's going to go back to that particular line in the story. And the hype train is going to be real. The question is going to be who's going to be the next majority black owner? That's going to be the next question. And that's the next question that's going to be asked for a long time. A long time. As if Michael Jordan doesn't have enough money already. He put his investment into the Charlotte Hornets and he walked out with that and then some. He walked away with that and then some. He's like, okay, season over. Okay, I can stop here. I can stop here. I'm going to vamoose. I'm going to vamoose. Now it's time for the Charlotte Hornets to get the right person in place that would make them competitive again and really make them buzz city. Really make them buzz city again. Jordan and his ownership of the team and the direction he tried to steer the team in. This is nothing against that whatsoever. You just want to field a team that is competitive enough to win on a nightly basis over the course of 82 games and get back in the playoffs, period. That's all you need. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is 22 after the hour, and we're going to go to Detroit, Michigan. And I got to welcome my guest out of Detroit, Michigan, who is part of the Ear Hustle podcast with James and Eric. Please welcome Eric Smith. What's up, man?
What's up, B? How's it going?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Can't complain, man. It's another beautiful day outside.
It certainly is. We had a talk yesterday and said we were going to share stories of triumph, and you and I share a common denominator, which is cancer trying to take us out.
That is true. That is true. The scare is real. Our results wind up being a little different, but the stress and the pressures of finding out exactly what's wrong with you definitely share that in common. Just to kind of share some details with you, back 2017, the late part of 2017, at that particular time, I was also going through a divorce. I had a cancer scare. I wound up, with the tumor. Thank goodness it was a benign tumor, but it was a tumor nevertheless. The 7 or 8 days that I had to wait in order to get those test results were just excruciating. I fell into a deep state of depression. I didn't call my kids. I didn't call my friends. I didn't call my siblings. It was terrible. I was really in a dark place, to the point where, you're kind of playing the things over in your head. Like, what am I going to do if I do have cancer? Am I going to be a former shell of myself? What are my kids, going to do without me? What is my, siblings are going to do without me? I thought about all of that stuff, but honestly, none of that really mattered. I was kind of like focused in a dark place. Just really, if I would have got that cancer diagnosis, I don't know how I would have handled it. But luckily, I had people who cared about me more than I actually cared about myself at that time. The same people who I shunned off are the same people that was wondering what was going on with me. My co-host of the Ear Hustling podcast was one of those folks. He's down over in Atlanta. He smacked me up pretty good in terms of telling me that I need to take that stuff off. He was like, well, what are you thinking about? When I, confessed to him what I was thinking as far as like, possibly even committing suicide. He was like, man, are you crazy? He was like, you've got, first of all, 4 kids that are here. And you're just going to let that be the last thing that they remember you by is you taking out your own life because you didn't want to, deal and overcome a potential sickness. He was like, you haven't even got your diagnosis yet, as far as whether it's cancerous or non-cancerous. He was like, why are you looking at everything from a doom and gloom perspective? He was like, that's not you. So he wound up getting a hold of a mutual friend of mine, and then she lit into me. Then she in turn wound up telling my sisters, because I didn't even tell my sisters, and then they lit into me. And I've got adult children, then they lit into me. And then it was just one of those things where I felt like that I was just so alone. But I wound up with a tremendous support system. The people at my job shared what was going on there because I was transitioning from jobs. It was a lot of stuff that was going on back in 2017, 2018. That would probably be a whole podcast in itself. But you never really know what you mean to people until it's time for them to take care of you. You and I both share this in common. We are usually the people that people lean on us. It's difficult for me having to lean on somebody because I've always been that guy. I've always been a rock of the family. And when it comes to facing those near like death experiences, you really reflect and you really think about what's important and about what's not important. Used to spend so much time focusing on negative stuff. Why do we complain about negative stuff, but we still want to feed and indulge in it? So many positive things that are going on. If you just really take a look at the average day of a person, there's way more positive things that happen than the negative things. But we have a tendency to lean on the negative things because that's a couple of things that didn't go our way. Okay, well, you know what? They didn't go your way. You know what? Get over it. World doesn't revolve around me as much as I would like for, to think that it does. It truly doesn't. What can we do to make somebody else's life better? What sort of good news and positivity can I spread to somebody that would make their life better? It's always, what can you do for me when you face that experience? It's now, what can I do to leave a lasting positive impression for somebody else? You're being a husband. I think that you can probably, relate to that there are times where you just don't feel like dealing with certain stuff. But then when you look over there at your wife, it's like, man, you know what? She is like my ride or die. She's there with me good, bad, or indifferent. You know, sometimes
Absolutely.
you have to live vicariously through somebody else to make sure that they're doing okay, even if you're not, even if you're having a bad day. But my dad always used to say a bad day is just that, a bad day. And it's really not even a bad day. It's a certain portion of your day that's bad. It's not the entire day. He refused to let anybody ruin his entire day. So, you know, from that perspective, I found out a lot about myself, about being resilient. I also found out that I'm not indestructible. We also need to take care of ourselves as men, period, particularly Black men. Health, at least in my family tree, men really didn't talk about their health much.
Right.
Which is probably why so many of us left Earth so early, because we didn't pay attention to our health. We didn't pay attention to our prostates. We didn't watch what we eat. We didn't like exercise the way we're supposed to. We didn't talk about those little aches and pains that could lead over to like other serious stuff. Not willing to take, you know, medication in order to clear things up. Men's health is extremely important. It is extremely important. And I've got 4 children. You know, I've got 3 of them are men, you know, ranging from 14 is my youngest son and my oldest son is 30. I want to be around for their children's children. I don't want them to be like, yeah, you know what, you know, dad, you know, he passed away, you know, like 52, 53 years old. I wish you could have met him. No, I don't want to be that guy. I want to be that guy at the family reunion, you know, hey, 100th birthday, you know, still able to walk.
That's what I want.
Yep. And I want to come to your, you know, I know that you just got done celebrating a milestone birthday. I want to see you on your 60th. I want to see you on your 70th. You know, we could be those 2 old men. Do you remember the movie Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I want for us.
That'll be that'll be us.
Yeah. Well,
because
maybe not the cranky old man.
No. I can't be cranky. Cancer tried to take me out, and my wife wasn't having it. When I was all chemoed out, and I took those of you who know, I took oral chemotherapy for 3 months, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And boy, I had a fog brain, and I didn't realize how much of a fog brain I had until my wife explained it to me. This is why I call her Dr. K, because she, like me with sports research, she digs into medical research and lots of it. And she said to me, you know what? You know you're putting poison in your body when you do chemotherapy. And it took me 6 months to realize how much I put in my body over the course of those 3 months that I was on it. I'm not all the way back yet. I know it's still going to take me a while, but I'm further along, much further along than I thought I would be. We had to make she made the difficult decision for us to move from North Carolina back here to Indiana. And she says, I got to get some help because you're unable to take care of yourself. And I got to see what I can do because I want you here. I don't want anything else. I just want you here. Man, best decision ever. Because I met my oncologist in February of 22, met the gentleman who performed the surgery that saved my life. And I can't thank them enough to this day. I always shake my oncologist's hand and everyone in that office when I go see them, whether it be for a blood draw or a follow-up visit or whatever. I always shake their hand. I had a recent appointment with an eye doctor. And they said the spots on my eye, which is related to my diabetes, are not progressing. I shook his hand. Every day I'm blessed with. I wasn't even supposed to make it to 50 because Duke Cancer Center basically gave me a death sentence. No, not basically. They did give me a death sentence. They told my wife to go home and get her affairs in order, that the tumor I had was inoperable. And my wife wasn't having it. This was November 21, and my wife wasn't having it. Just celebrated my 51st birthday with a lot of people.
And you know what? That's remarkable. You dealt with that during the height of a pandemic.
Yes.
Among other things. So you know what? I don't want to turn this into a religious show, but I do feel that I have to say this. Doctors can tell you one thing, but God can completely
tell you another.
He
definitely told Jody another thing, and Jody got the message to me. And I got to share this funny story. One day when I was in ICU, after a day after I was in ICU after my surgery, my daughter Cheyenne, rang me through Messenger, and she looked at me, and I was really, really weak. And she says, "Pop, you look awful." I said, "Baby, I feel awful." Her next question to me was, "Do you need me to come up there?" Yes. I didn't even blink. I said, "Yes. Get up here." And she was in Los Angeles at the time.
Wow.
She flew that night from Los Angeles to Indianapolis. I woke up the next day, and here is Cheyenne, red hair and all, walking through the door with the doctors. And I'm just going, now I know I'm in good hands. And speaking of good hands, come here, Pumpkin. This little guy decided to pay me a visit. This is Pumpkin, y'all. Mwah. Another one of my kittens that we have. He heard me sharing a good story, and he wanted to come check on me. Just like I checked on him before I went on air this afternoon. You doing all right, Pumpkin? Yeah, Ryan, my little pumpkin kitten joined us. Eric Smith joining me here. Tell me how the Ear Hustling podcast began. Tell me how that got started.
During the pandemic, was sitting around, had a little bit of time. We were transitioning, working from our office to the home. James and I always sit back and we would just debate stuff. If he liked a Republican, I liked a Democrat. If he liked black, I liked white. If he likes, meat lovers pizza, I like vegetable pizza. So everything that we've done has always been a spirited debate. The best of friends, like brothers, but I'm telling you, you couldn't find two people with more opposites in terms of opinions than me and him. But the one thing that we did share a love for is making sure that one another was okay.
Good.
So what we did, it was actually James, and it was another gentleman. His name is Patrick. So it actually started out as a 3-man podcast. So, me being black, James being mixed, and and Patrick being white. So we had these 3 different perspectives on how we view life. So we were sitting around there and we were just kicking it. And you know what? It's like, let's just go on Facebook and let's just debate this and just talk about it. And then it kind of morphed from there. And it was just one of those things where it seemed like the more people were interested in what it is that we had to say. We've wound up interviewing congressional candidates, sitting U.S. congressmen from multiple states.
Nice.
We wind up with Gabrielle Union's ex-husband, who was also a professional football player at the university. He was at the University of Michigan. But you just never really know who until you start talking about stuff. And it was one of those things where we would talk about everything. We really didn't have a certain genre. It's whatever it is that caught our attention. Yep. Hey, I want to talk about this. Financial literacy, how the class of 2020 and 2019 was dealing with the pandemic, whether it was like high school or college kids, you guys didn't have your graduation, didn't get a chance to walk across the stage. How did that make you feel? Talking to, oh my goodness, we had talent shows during the pandemic where it was like, we had talent shows, and I'm telling you, there was some really talented people. You would look at those people and you would think, that person's probably is going to wind up being a singer. Nope. They wind up having a completely different talent.
Right.
And so that just kind of just like morphed to say we just had a lot of different opinions, and we really wanted to get educated about stuff we didn't know. First show that we actually did, it was James that did it solo, but he interviewed this gentleman named Nick Brooks. Nick Brooks is gay. And that's when the LGBTQ community really started to just bust out. Yes. And when you sit back and you talk to Nick is just like a regular guy. He was like, look, I'm a regular person. The only difference is that I like men as opposed to women. Right. And he was like, the thing about it is, like, him being ridiculed, he was like, look, this isn't something that just happened to me. This is something that's always been inside of me, and I wasn't making myself, happy by hiding all of this. And he was like, why would somebody choose to go that far against society if that's not how they truly felt?
Right.
And when he brought that point up, that was just like, wow, that was kind of like an eye opener.
Yeah.
It was like he was wearing a mask the entire time. And I can't remember the name of this other guest that we had, but do you remember a few years back where the guy was like, hide your women and hide your kids? There's a rapist in the neighborhood.
Yes.
We interviewed him.
Oh, wow.
and I'll send you that feed when I get an opportunity to. But
please
that
do.
That was an eye-raising interview too. He got to telling us about his family history, the drug abuse, how he was, into the bisexual life, working with Tyler Perry, how that changed his mentality, all sorts of things. So you just find so many fascinating people, that are out here that you never even think about their perspectives. And I like to run my mouth too, so it kind of helps with that.
Well, the first real professional interview I had was with Cliff Levingston. When
really from 227? Cliff Levingston. He was with the Atlanta Hawks, and he was with the Detroit Pistons.
Atlanta Hawks. He started with the Pistons, then he played 4 years with Atlanta, and then really made his mark with the Bulls. I had such a thrill and an honor talking to him, and that was purely by accident because I was at Marquette Catholic in 2013, and Tony Midas, my good friend who was the athletic director, I was waiting on the volleyball coach, and he said, you won't be able to get the volleyball coach before the game, but would you like to interview Cliff Levingston? And my eyes shot open, and I'm going, wait, Cliff Levingston's here? He said, yeah. I said, yeah, I'll carve out 20 minutes for him. Wound up talking an hour. And I said, there's a question I want to ask you. And he says, what's that? I said, what is the worst arena you ever played in? Before I could complete my question, he said, Richfield Coliseum, Richfield, Ohio. I said, what? He said, man, you go in that place and it's dark. Doesn't matter if it's a suburb of Cleveland. It was just dark. No one wanted to play there. In my time with the Pistons and my time with the Hawks, and especially my time with the Bulls, we didn't want to play there. And we were just sitting there laughing the whole time when he was sharing NBA experiences with me. We're up against the break, and I'm up against this little critter here. But Eric Smith, I want to thank you for joining me. I'm glad I got you on the show. Tell everybody where they can find you, bud.
Well, you can find me on Facebook, Spotify, YouTube. Just look up the Ear Hustling Podcast with James and Eric. We are on all of the major platforms. And I hope you have me again. We're on a little bit of a hiatus, so I've got a little bit of time to kill. Oh, and by the way, enjoyed.
I'm definitely going to have you again.
Enjoyed what you did yesterday when you was doing the thing with the Houston baseball team with the Astros.
Oh, man. I love doing it so much. I'm going to move my coverage to Monday night so I can have the weekends with my wife, especially with football season around the corner. Her team's the Colts. Mine's the 49ers. We both love college football, so we're going to be busy this season. And I might have her on with me during a college football stream. But it's going to be fun.
We can talk some football. I'm a Wolverine fan, so we definitely can talk some football.
I love it. Thanks for coming on, my friend. I appreciate it.
No problem. Hey, stay healthy, stay well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, we're up against the break, and this kitten is up against me getting rambunctious. I think it's time for you to go back out to the barn. So I'm going to take a walk, and I will tell y'all I'll be back in a minute. The thing is, until you can erase 3 Februaries, shut up.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
Hey y'all, Snowman here. Catch me, Cole Johnson, Wise El Jefe, Vikala, and the rest of the usual suspects and a few unusual suspects as we bring you 2 hours of the best sports talk you will ever watch and listen to. It's called Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Now on at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific on CSTV and CSTVnow.com. Join us, won't you?
This planet has been great to me. It's given me gifts that I can't even explain. It's given me adventures and memories I'll never forget. And Battleborn, I think, has given me the opportunity to go beyond and give something back. How can I be a better custodian to this planet and the place I live? That's where I am with Battleborn. Let's make the planet a better place.
PK Tire Pros, your one-stop on-the-spot auto service headquarters for a complete line of quality tires and auto services. For years, we have provided the Stockton, California area with the latest products and unprecedented services for everything we sell. And for years, our customers have been coming back. Take a look around. If you don't find what you need, visit us in Stockton, California. From the latest and best in tire technology to the services required to keep your vehicle looking good and running great, PK Tire Pros can get you out on the road quickly and at an affordable price. Stop by soon to see why so many people consider PK Tire Pros to be the one-stop shop for all of their tire needs. At PK Tire Pros, our friendly and knowledgeable staff, quick and dependable service professionals, and affordable prices all come together to make driving out on a new set of tires easy. On top of that, we never tire of tires. Stop by and see us, and you'll be glad you did.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is The Brian Snow Show.
.44 after the hour. Want to thank y'all for being with us this afternoon. I called an audible and I got Eric in early. I'm so glad I did. Had a wonderful time with him. I plan to have him back during football season to have a lot of fun. May have some random musings with Vikala in just a moment. Ryan McCarthy says, I hear kittens. Yep, you heard Pumpkin. One of my kittens. I have 3 that are usually randomly in the house throughout the day. I got Pumpkin, who you saw. I have Winnie, who everybody knows. And then I have Binks, and I haven't had Binks on in a while because Binks loves to sleep, like me. Binks loves to sleep. Binks loves to sleep. He'll eat and then he'll sleep. That's been me since I've been out of the hospital. I'm so happy I haven't been in a hospital. I'm so happy I haven't been in a hospital in a while. But thank you to everyone at all the hospitals I've been to, IU Med Center in Indianapolis, Columbus Hospital. They just did a wonderful job on me, especially the folks at the IU Med Center. And having said that, that leads to me talking about this. I want to have the ultimate stadium tour where I see as many stadiums and arenas that I can lay my eyes on. But there are 3 purposes to this. The first one is to get some money in for me and my family so we can really, really get back on our feet. Let me adjust my chair here. Hold on a minute. That's all the squeaking when the chair gets too low. There we are. The first purpose is, like I said, for me and my family, so we can really get back on our feet. The second purpose is to raise money for cancer research. And it's a cause that is very, very dear to me because I fought pancreatic cancer and won. I fought it and won. And I want to help as many people as I can, especially through the V Foundation. The great Jim Valvano said, don't give up, never give up. And he also said, cancer can take away all my physical abilities. It cannot touch my mind, it cannot touch my heart, and it cannot touch my soul. And those three things are going to carry on forever. I lost both my parents due to cancer. And I'll be damned if I don't make a mark on this. The third reason I want to do this is for the man empowerment movement. It's a movement that I started. I had the blank scared out of me when my ex, I'll say it, my ex, Jody Dias, threatened a lawsuit because I spoke of her on my own damn platform. And I was so spooked that I stopped it. Not anymore. There are men across this country that have gone through hell and back, and there is no kind of help for them. Let's change that. So that's a threefold purpose. That's the threefold purpose of the Snowman Stadium Tour. I want to raise a whole lot of money for those three purposes. Make sure my family is good. Make sure cancer patients, have extra days. And then want to help the men across the country that have been through hell and back. And I have another kitten here. Come here, Winnie. Hi, Winnie. Are you joining me this afternoon? Like your brother Pumpkin did? Yeah? Okay. How about some random musings? Here's Victor Locke from Chicago, and he joins me right now. What's up, Victor?
Good afternoon, my brother from another mother, Mr. Snowman. How are you?
I'm 51, and I'm feeling great.
So I got a couple little nuggets I just pulled up. But
oh, dear.
The majority
when Victor pulls up little nuggets, y'all know the musings are very random, and they're going to be fun. All right, what you got for me?
First and foremost, just got this out there. 76ers star James Harden is expected to lose $100 million because of his trade demand for the Nets in 2022. This is coming off MSN.com. James Harden free agency. The decision has continued to make headlines in recent weeks, with the former MVP currently looking to depart Philadelphia in search for pressures.
See, that part alone pisses me off. Former MVP. He should have been an MVP in the first place, but I digress.
You know that. I know that, but we don't vote.
This is true. This is true.
He seemed poised to join his fourth team in 4 years. Now, that alone.
Fourth team in 4 years.
4 teams.
In 4 years.
In 4 years. I mean, look, we give LeBron a lot of crap. Yeah. But at least he stays with the team for more than a cup of coffee. At least, I mean, he was with Cleveland for about 9 years before he left to Miami. They used Miami for about 4 years.
And then he went back to Cleveland for another 4 years.
Right. And now he's
in his fifth season in Los Angeles.
Yeah. But James Harden just ruins teams right here. Skip Bayless called Terrell Owens team obliterator. No, I disagree.
No, that's James Harden.
James Harden is a team obliterator.
And you know what? You could put Kyrie Irving on that list too.
And Kyrie Irving on there too. He's more like a team cancer because it's just slow and painful. Sorry about that, Snowman, but he is.
I laugh at that description because it's the truth. I laugh at that.
It's just while his repeated team hopping has earned him plenty of criticism from the NBA fans, I have not seen any. I mean, besides you, myself, Cole, and everyone.
But the ones who are true NBA fans.
Yeah,
how about we say it that way?
But the modern NBA fan is not. All right. I haven't seen that yet.
I haven't either.
When I see that, that's when I know he's done something.
Yeah.
Wrong.
But you're not gonna see it because today's NBA fans all about two things: stars and stats.
Yep.
I've said it many times over.
It turns out that his decision to leave Brooklyn in 2022 could cost him. Had James stayed in Brooklyn in 2022, the team would have likely offered him a max contract to keep him and Durant together. Well, I'd say right now that was not going to happen because Durant was out of there. What's your take, Snowman? Kevin Durant, you should have never left California.
Kevin Durant should have never left Northern California. Ever. And for James Harden,
you fool!
And I gotta say this: Kevin Durant for leaving the Warriors.
You fool!
You fool!
Yeah. Instead, Harden landed in Philadelphia, where his where he instead wound up opting out of the remaining year of his deal in order to re-sign for less. The move freed up cap space for the 76ers, who used the money for PJ Tucker. Don't know who that is.
Jay Tucker.
I don't know who that is.
You don't want to know who that is.
This offseason, Harden could have
Just think Houston Rockets want to be big.
Gotcha.
With a supposed 3-point shot. Does that tell you anything?
Yeah. This offseason, Harden could have opted out of the second year of his extension. However, his value on the market isn't worth the max deal he missed out on.
Hell no, it's not. He ain't worth the max deal, period.
He was never worth a max deal.
I'm sorry. Did I say that aloud?
As a result, he has now opted into the second year of his extension and is looking to land on another team. After the upcoming season, Harden will once again hit free agency and look to secure a bag on the open market. Good luck there.
Exactly.
By that time, he will be 35 years old, and given his age, he will unlikely secure himself a max deal. Right there.
Mm-hmm.
Again, 4 teams in 4 years, and he's 35.
Poor James Harden. How the hell?
Poor James Harden. No.
I say that very sarcastically.
I wouldn't even say it sarcastically. This is his mess that he needs to clean up. No one told him to leave Houston.
Here's the question, though. Will he?
No, he can't now. It's too late.
And now a selection from the Wonderberg Choir entitled, "It's Too Late." Sorry, couldn't help it.
No, it's fine. So between missing out on a max deal in Brooklyn, the pay cut, and his next deal, Harden loses near $100 million.
Good. And Mitch Kofsky just said it. Harden did this all to himself.
Yes.
Yep. And in many ways, and Sixer fan, you're not going to like this, JJ included, Joel Embiid did this to himself.
Considering he and Durant on the Brooklyn Nets was believed to be more than formidable duo, many have wondered if Harden jumped the gun leaving the Nets. No. The thing is, yes, paper.
That's why I laugh at that statement.
On paper, yeah, the Nets should have been titles. I remember when Ryan Hollins and Will Kane were going at it about Kyrie and KD being on the Nets together and then bringing in James Harden.
Why you gotta mention Ryan Hollins to me and not just add a cup of coffee?
I'll explain why. Because in one small segment, Will Kane must have let the power of Stephen A. Smith possess him, because he looked like a Stephen A. Smith. Like the way that he acted, it was like, what? When did Stephen A. become white? When did Stephen A. become Will Kane? What in the world is going on?
What happened?
Yeah. But for some reason, like he was like, look, KD and Kyrie, you don't think they're gonna get titles? And I was like, no, I don't think so. And I was like, you know what? I can understand Will Kane's frustration.
Yes.
Because Ryan Hollins is an idiot. But on paper, KD, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden should be title contenders, at least for 4 years. Like I said, keyword should.
Yes.
Not are.
Right.
This is what I mean by when we put all these expectations on, when DCS also said about putting expectations on these teams like Philadelphia Eagles. I love you, Cool McCain. I want to see them jail before I can give them that crown again.
I want to see that. I want to see that too.
Because the Eagles they're going to be unstoppable. But you might have different egos, different mentalities. They may not gel together, and it might hurt the Eagles. But that's with any team in the NFL. That's any team in any sport. On paper, you have this depth of talent that you're like, hey, these guys can really be some contenders. And yet, no, it's not happening. Sorry.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
But James Harden, does anyone really care where he goes?
No.
At this point?
No.
Does anyone really care?
Jonathan Mathis, the sports judge, my good friend, asked me on his show Friday. Yeah, Friday. Where is a good landing spot for James Harden? I said nowhere.
Yeah.
I said
I
no.
mean-
I said absolutely nowhere.
Any team right now will probably do to him what the Cowboys did to T.O. Pay
Mhm.
him and sit him. Pay him to stay at home.
Now, who said that first on this program?
I mean, heck, they did to Antonio Clown.
I'm surprised they paid him.
They paid him out the rest of his deal. Well, they had to. I mean, it's contractually out. He was
Yeah,
contractually obligated.
he's obligated.
And
yeah.
unlike Kyrie to Pinkett Smith, he didn't breach his contract.
Love that name.
Look,
I know it fits. I know it fits. I know it
people
fits.
ask me. People
Damn
ask me, why do you call him, Kyrie to Pinkett Smith?
Mhm.
Well, I know it's a shot at Jada, but what's your beef with Jada? Well, obviously, the woman who has been known to be a comedian can't take a joke. How does that work? And a joke that was extremely tame. Look,
Extremely
I know people at my job that have alopecia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and for the fools who sit there talking about you can't joke about Appalachia, like what? Yes, I've had people sit there and say,
You mean
can't-"
someone actually mispronounced that?
Yes, someone has actually mispronounced it and called it Appalachia.
Someone called it Appalachia.
Appalachia, not even Appalachian.
And Appalachia?
Yeah, they call it Appalachia.
Really? They
Like-
called it Appalachia. Good.
What?
Instead of looking up the proper pronunciation for it.
Exactly. I'm like, like I said, I know people at my job who do have alopecia. I do not speak on it. I do not talk to them about it.
Mhm.
And even they said, no, I watched that and I thought that was out of line. Chris Rock doing his job, leave him alone.
Yep.
You leave him alone. He's doing his job. You didn't have a problem with it before when he was making fun of everybody else. Now it's on you, and that's exactly what Kyrie to Pinkett Smith. Kyrie doesn't have a problem with people booing everybody else, but the minute he's in hostile territory, in an away game, and he hears booing, he wants to kick people out. I wonder where we saw that before.
Yeah.
Kang did the exact same thing.
In Indianapolis. He's done it a few times, but Indianapolis still sticks out in my mind. In the midst of an overtime game, in a game where the Fakers had a 9-point lead late in regulation,
Mm-hmm.
on their way to closing it out, and they blew it. Now, they
And
won the game in overtime, but they blew it.
And I don't understand where this softness came from. This is going to be kind of the overarching point of my musings today.
Uh-oh.
When did we, as athletes, as sports fans, as sport journalists, when did a country get so doggone soft?
I have an answer to that, but
Please tell me.
when
I
did
woke
this
up
country
one-
get-
Go ahead.
When did this country get? I want you to repeat your question to me because the answer.
When did we as a country get so soft? I remember we woke up, we were tough as nails. We as a
Yep.
country, we were tough as nails. Then I went
Yep.
to bed one night, woke up next morning, and everyone is scared of their own doggone shadow. What is happening here?
I have a year where I sensed the softness
Mm-hmm.
beginning. And you and I have talked about this off the air,
Okay.
but I'll expose it here. The year where I thought the softness began, especially in the sports world,
Mm-hmm.
1995.
You first, I thought you were going to go. I was going to say 2006,
Oh, it started well before then.
but 1995. That was still that was during that was after the first Bulls three-peat and before the second one, right?
Yep. 1995, especially in the NBA, is when everything began to go sideways. It really went sideways after June 14th, 1998.
Okay. Because it seemed
When
like the talent pool started to get softer and softer.
And it really went sideways after the greatest Western Conference final I ever watched, which of course 2002. Lakers and Kings. And I equate this to when the NBA on NBC lost its media rights.
Yeah. See, this is what I mean by how like you attach certain things to sports.
Yep.
Like with you, White Sox, you always attach that to your family, particularly Sarge and Tiny. That's why
they got me into White Sox Nation.
Exactly.
They inducted me into White Sox Nation with my first game in 1982.
For me, it was the NBA on NBC. It was the Bulls playing on a Sunday afternoon. My aunt and my dad.
You can't beat that.
My aunt and my dad, we would go to Burger King. We would get like a Big Mac or McChickens with cheese on it. Come back and watch the game. And it was always fun, but these guys were trying their hardest. And
yes.
It's why I said in Snowman in the Morning this morning, work ethic is now a curse word to these people.
Not for me, it ain't.
You look at Joel Embiid, you look at James Sharman, you look at LBJ, to a slightly lesser degree, because I do see him trying to work, but yo jump shot is still a chicken wing, LeBron. I'm sorry. Yo jump shot is still chicken wing-esque. But I can see him trying to work. Kevin Durant, Kyrita Herbal Tea, Kyrita Pickett-Smith. You just see a lot of guys who are just
Kevin Nappy Head, as Cole Johnson would say.
Yeah, you just see a lot of guys not really take their gym time and their time to work on themselves seriously enough. And it's becoming embarrassing because becoming a parent. I remember back in the days when the USA, Team USA, was not only the dream team, but remember on Space Jam.
But just plain dominant.
But you also remember this from the movie Space Jam, the mean team. Where you were scared.
Remember it quite well. Yes.
I remember
absolutely were scared.
I remember the Barcelona games. When the dream team came to Barcelona. Ooh, boy.
When the I got even better when the dream team had to qualify for the Olympics because they lost in 1988.
Yeah.
They lost in 1988.
4 years later.
They had to qualify at the Tournament of the Americas in Portland, Oregon, at the Memorial Coliseum. They had to qualify to play in the Olympics in a tournament at the Memorial Coliseum that everybody and their mother knew they were going to win because of the team they put together. Because of the team they put together.
And you already hit me in the feels. I hear it in the background, and already I'm just getting the feels of like being 9, 10, 11 years old, sitting on the TV in my grandmother's house.
Oh, you are hearing what I put together, right?
Yep. And my aunt's on one side, my dad's on the other, and we're eating McDonald's and we're just watching. It was just so doggone fun, and it kills me that that's no longer a thing. I mean, sports aren't even really digested as a group thing anymore.
Right.
Everyone kind of watches it solo now.
And
I remember back in the day where a Bulls game was a family event.
I remember the Bulls game was a neighborhood event.
Well, that was the finals.
Listen,
that was the finals.
No. Regular season after the Bulls won their first title, every regular season, every game, regular season and playoffs was a neighborhood event.
We somehow, I don't know how this was done. I wish I could do this myself, but somehow this was done when it was, I believe, Game 3 of the '97 finals. With the Bulls. Somehow, some way, one of our neighbors got a big projector board, big projector screen, put it in the street.
Showtime.
Got the projector on that had the game going through the projector. Big block party. Everyone had the grill going, and they had seats for the family and kids, and we were all watching the game.
because everybody could see it. It was everybody could see it. It was a big ass projector. I remember those size projectors.
I'm just like,
Hell, I
and
ran one. For God's sakes, at Chicago State.
it was so much fun. I'm like, this is what we've been missing as fans. It's just that excitement.
I hope what you're hearing now is hitting you in the feels.
Oh, I hear it. I hear it.
Because that's the song that got me going.
Mm-hmm. And it's just like, that's not there anymore. Like, I'll ask you this question. What is the NBA's theme song now? Anybody know?
I wish
The NBA and ESPN, what is their theme song?
It's non-recognizable, perhaps.
I don't think they have one. And
they have to have one for production. I just don't know what it is.
I mean, they have to have one, but I don't think they have one. I mean, NBC's and CBS's were
they're iconic.
You hear them and you're like, hey, I remember this.
They were iconic.
I mean, same thing with MLB.
Every time I play this in the background and you hear it, you're one of the first to check in the morning, you hear it.
Mm-hmm.
We're going old school with the NBA on CBS. You're blankety blank right.
Yes.
I would say it another way, but we're on radio, so I can't do it.
Again, it's these little things. And this is like got you through hard times. I mean,
man,
rough days at work, rough days at school. You know, maybe you're behind on a project and you gotta get through it. You crank this up on your cassette tape and you're good to go.
You know what? I told you this story. I'll share it with the fans since we're doing random musings. When the Bulls and Pistons were playing in the Eastern Conference Finals in 1989, the television would be on in the kitchen. And you remember my house, and you remember the little television we had in the kitchen.
Yes, I do.
The mini TV we had in the kitchen. We had the mini TV in the kitchen, and of course the big fat TV in the back room. We had just gotten the back room in 1988. 1989, it was all polished up, all dialed up, and you've been at my parents' house, and you know how the setup was.
Absolutely.
You remember that big fat stereo that was in the front room?
Yes, I do.
That later I had in my room.
Yep.
My old room. I had that blasted with Jim Durham and Johnny Kerr's call.
Yeah.
Of every game in that series while I was working on a science project.
Yes. And that's the thing is like these things got you through tough times, whether you were an adult, whether you were a kid, whether you were a man or a woman, these got you through tough times. And it's just, there's none of that anymore. It's like everyone wants to be coddled. Everyone wants to be held gently and treated with kid loves. And you wonder why the performances are going down, why ratings are going down.
Ratings have been through the floor in a long time.
Look, we talked about the All-Star game ad nauseum.
Oh God!
But let's explain exactly why. Even though it was not considered a meaningful game, I'm using meaningful in quotation marks.
Yes,
you saw them boys play defense in the 90s. You saw them run for every possession. You saw them fight for every possession, for every rebound, every steal, every shot, every point. They fought for it.
They did.
And now
you're not seeing that anymore.
The All-Star game is just a over-exaggerated, elevated, elegant game of horse.
Who can do the craziest dunk?
Right.
Who can do the craziest layup? How many times can you go between the legs without being called for a travel? Oops, did I say that?
You just pressed a button.
I'll press it again. How many between the legs dribble can Kyrie Irving do before being called for a travel?
No, not that. You said dunks. So let's talk about the dunk contests. At what point do we sit there and say, we're not going to give you participation points? We're going to actually score you on what you can and can't do. I am getting so doggone sick and tired of seeing individuals get 3 attempts at dunking a basketball, miss all 3 times because they don't know how, and then they're getting 2 points. 2 points?
2.
For missing a dunk? 3 times in a row, you should be walking back with a big fat 0 and a big fat L. Just staple a L on your forehead.
I'm sorry. If for those of you who missed it, Victor said you should be walking back with a big fat.
That's right. I did say that. I absolutely said that.
I'm glad you did.
But for some reason, now
I'm
you're
so
getting
happy.
2 points.
I'm so happy you did.
You're getting 2 points by default because you missed, which
That
means
big fats. No. You don't get points for missing a damn dunk 3 times.
3 times.
God, I've seen that. Oh dear God.
And I mean, and now it's getting to the point where
Dear
it's not even just dunks anymore. It's like, can I jump over this object here?
Can
Or
I jump over a car, brother Griffin?
Yeah, look, I know that was really wonderful for Blake Griffin, and I was proud of him. But I always said Blake Griffin was an amazing athlete. If he learned how to play basketball, then he'd be something to see. But that's easy for another time.
I've said that about LeBron James, and people want to bristle at me. Oops, did I say that? I mean, what happened to this?
Offensive. Cooper brings it over to James Worthy. Worthy against Malone. Pass is deflected. Going to be stolen, I think, by the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Here he comes. Oh, rock the baby to sleep and slam.
What happened to that?
Here's the thing with dunks like that, right? That was it. Now, to most NBA fans, that's probably not the most creative dunk. It's just more like a rock.
He rocked the damn baby.
But
F that. He rocked the baby.
But you felt that jolt of energy. That jolt of
yes.
That is what
and that was in overtime. And that was in overtime, folks.
That's what the dunk contest is about.
That was in overtime.
I mean, I give it to Vince Carter for being one of the guys to do the between the legs dunk.
I give you that. Give you that.
But it's like you can do something simple.
It's like you said, that gave you a jolt.
You could do something simple. I mean, I remember when tomahawks were just nasty.
Supreme.
When the
tomahawks were supreme.
When the windmill was just
Mm-hmm.
Dominique Wilkins and MJ going at it. It's
like I told you, man. 1995 to me changed everything.
Yeah.
Let's go back to 1996 as we're talking NBA stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Can we bring this back? Can we bring that team back?
Well, I was going to wait.
Supersonics?
I was going to wait, but since you already pressed that button, let's talk about some teams and team names.
The Seattle Supersonics, damn it.
That really just aggravate me. And you touched on something this morning.
The Washington Redskins.
Yes, and my mind said if I get on the Brian Snow show this afternoon,
let it loose. I got something for you to let loose.
Okay.
I got something for you to let loose. Wait a minute. I'll do even better. I'll put it here. Go ahead and let loose while I get this queued up for you. Go.
Okay. So let's start off with the Washington Redskins. And I am going to say the Washington Redskins. You can find me, you can sense me, you can bleep me all you want.
Man,
there was
the Washington freaking Redskins.
I'm going to say
right?
There was absolutely no reason for them to change the name. Okay?
Can you say that again?
There was absolutely no reason to change the name. In fact, there was a poll because they actually tried to fight to keep the Redskin name alive. There was a poll that they went to indigenous individuals.
I got you.
Mm-hmm. There were individuals, indigenous people that they actually polled.
Yep.
And they even said they thought it was a badge of honor to have the NFL make a team based on them,
Yes.
based on their warrior spirit.
And it was a member of a tribe who designed the logo of the Washington Redskins.
And then they all say, "Well, it's offensive. The name Redskin is offensive." I'm like, did you talk to
When did
people
when did this happen?
What aggravates me is I see this too many times. The people who proclaim that this is going to be offensive to other individuals, they're not part of that particular group.
No.
They're not part of a particular group. The people who sat there and proclaimed that the Redskin name was offensive to Native Americans, guess what? Not a lot of them were natives.
Nope.
Not a lot of them were natives. Not a lot were members of a tribe. It's got to the point where we're trying to be so on eggshells that we can't say this because people will think we're racist or we're sexist or whatever it may be. That we need to continuously overcorrect to the point where the Washington Redskins, for at least 2 years, were simply known as the Washington football team. What type of crap is that?
Who wrote this ish?
And I defy. If you guys have an actual reason as to why the Redskins name should be changed, please let me know.
Please let me know.
If you know people who were actually offended, people of the indigenous
Sick Diggy said who actually designed the Redskins logo, and I talked about it this morning. I'm trying to find who because I know Sick Diggy put it in the chat, and I'm trying to locate it now.
Yeah, I think Ryan brought that up too.
Yeah, and he brought up the Edmonton Eskimos, aka the Edmonton Elks. The Redskins logo before it was scrapped, and it was Ryan McCarthy who brought this up. The Redskins logo before it was scrapped was designed by a member of the Blackfoot tribe.
Exactly.
What's the problem?
So now you're telling
problem?
A member of the Blackfoot tribe,
yep,
that your particular logo is offensive to other individuals of indigenous tribes.
Because now you're saying it's offensive to the Blackfoot tribe, and the guy who is a member of the tribe designed the damn logo.
Exactly.
That's a double standard if I ever saw one or heard one.
I just don't understand. I just don't understand.
I don't get it either. I just
Walter
don't understand
Wetzel
how
is his
and
name.
why. Walter Russell?
Walter Wetzel.
Wetzel.
Redesigned logo introduced in 1972.
Designed the Redskin logo.
Yep. A redesigned logo introduced in 1972 was proposed by Walter Wetzel, a former Blackfoot tribal chairman and past president of the National Congress of American Indians. And it was modeled after the likeness on the Buffalo nickel.
Wow.
So not only was this proposed by a former Blackfoot tribal chairman who also happened to be a president of the National Congress of American Indians, but it was modeled after part of their money. What is the matter with our country?
What is the problem with that? Modeled after what'd you say? A nickel?
The Buffalo nickel.
Buffalo nickel.
I mean, you couldn't get more redskin than that.
You can't
get more native than that.
You can't make this up, folks.
It wasn't like it was just a group of white guys who watched too many John Wayne movies.
Tell me his name again. I want to get the name right.
Walter Wetzel. W-E-T-Z-E-L.
Walter Wetzel. Designed. Go. Say it again. Say it again.
A redesigned logo introduced in 1972 was proposed by Walter Wetzel, a former Blackfoot tribal chairman and past president of the National Congress of American Indians, and was modeled after the likeness on the Buffalo nickel.
You can't make this up, folks.
So you are telling me that
You can't make this up.
You are
can't.
telling me that that this is ridiculous. It wasn't like a group of white guys who just watched so much John Wayne movies and decided, hey, we're going to put what we think what a Indian would look like or Native American would look out. No, this is a guy who actually lived that culture and had to share his culture with the nation via the Washington Redskins.
Say those last two words again.
The Washington Redskins.
I have a friend, Stephen Askins, host of Inside the Huddle on Facebook. I greet him with "Hail to the Redskins" every time we talk.
Yeah,
I could never say Washington. The times I've had Mike debate on this program, the times I've had Mike debate on the morning show, which now is spanning 7 years, unbelievably.
I want to also bring this up because I just saw something from Great Falls Tribune.
6 years.
I also want to bring this up because I just looked at something. I got a little bit of a interview from one Bill Wetzel. This is Walter Wetzel's grandson. And it's just a little piece. It always really bothered me that because of his association with a logo, his name has been so conflated with a racial slur. He was much more than that. He was a Blackfeet tribal chairman, president of the National Congress of American Indians, and spent his life working to advance civil rights. Among his greatest accomplishments are his pioneering work in job training and housing programs, which impacted not only indigenous people, but the populace at large. So again, this guy was a leader, not a leader of his own group of people, not only his own tribe, but also was a leader of the populace as a whole and helped out the community. And you said, yeah, your logo and the name it's just too troublesome.
It's too troublesome.
It's just too troublesome. We don't want to get sued. People don't like it.
What?
And times change, and this is what aggravates the most is this is just a sign of the times nonsense. No.
All right, forgive my next two words or my next sentence.
Okay.
Times have changed. My ass.
I just don't understand. I don't understand.
People are too soft for their own damn good.
And I will throw this one to my man Deets because I know he will jump all over this one. It's gotten so bad that even Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs are not safe. Yeah. They are now known as Snow White and the Seven Magical Beings.
Huh?
Yeah. Because dwarves are considered a slur now.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
No, I said Snow White and the Seven Magical Beings.
Son.
Yeah. I'm not going to touch on that anymore. I'm going to leave that to my man Deets. But it's just
not at all.
But it's just like
I can't touch that.
It's things like the Washington Bullets. It's things like, I believe the Florida State Seminoles weren't even safe.
Florida State Seminoles,
the Cleveland Indians,
the Cleveland Indians, the Atlanta Braves, the Kansas City Chiefs,
the Illini, the Kansas City Chiefs. It's like we talk about preserving indigenous culture, and yet we are erasing indigenous culture.
Miami, Ohio. Once upon a time, were the Redskins.
Mm-hmm.
Morris High School, Morris, Illinois. They're known as the Redskins.
Yeah.
You had the Lamont Indians.
Heck, Luther South. They were the Braves.
Yep, Luther South Braves. The one in the public league that will piss me off forever.
Mm-hmm.
They changed the name of the Hyde Park Indians.
Wait, what?
2009. Oh, you don't know this one.
No.
You don't know this one.
No.
Because I know you had some friends that went to Hyde Park.
My mother went to Hyde Park.
Oh, boy. Well, you need to tell your mother this one. 2009, they changed the name to the Hyde Park Thunderbirds because of bullying. Because I can just guess because of neighborhood bullying for them to change the name or
It's
the
more
pressure.
No, it's corporate bullying.
Mm-hmm.
It's corporations saying, it's what you said this morning. It's corporations saying, we're going to pull our funding. We're going to pull our sponsorship. If you don't change the name, can we find it offensive? Instead
Let
of
me
these
be in
teams,
charge of the Washington Redskins.
yeah, instead of these teams having the guts and saying, go ahead.
See ya. Like having the guts and saying, see you later, and I dare you, I double dare you.
I guarantee you'll be back within a week
Mm-hmm.
because you will see us thrive.
Instead of these teams are saying, I dare you, I double dare you.
Yeah,
I double dare you.
they start backing down.
Yeah. Yeah, they start backing down.
And it's just, again, it's why I say the country has gotten so doggone soft.
Preach.
And it's gotten so soft. And it's why I agree with Wise. It's time for the Gen Xers to come back. They come back with a thunder.
See, that means one of my favorite subjects gets a makeover. Arcades. They return en masse.
The luster of the arcades. Look, I get why people have started to turn more.
Neon lights come back. You need to have the pizza come. Showbiz Pizza needs to come back.
You know what I want to come back? I mean, even if I don't get arcades, if I don't get Showbiz Pizza, you know what I want to come back?
What's that?
Drive-in movie theaters.
Oh, God, yes.
Man, I've only been to one in my entire life.
I was lucky to go to two.
The one that I went to
go to a drive-in theater twice.
The one I went to, it's like right past, I believe it's Western, right off like 79, 78.
I know where that is because that's where I went the first time to see The Wiz.
I went there to see The Witches.
Wait, I take that back. The one we went to was on like 124th and Halsted.
Okay, I remember that one.
You remember that one? It was on 124th and Halsted. The one you went to on 79, I went there the second time when I was 19.
Yep.
Change that. No, change that. My brain's rattled. I had just come back home to Chicago from Minnesota when I went the second time.
Mm-hmm.
But the one we went to, like, was on 124th and Halsted. There was a bowling alley next to that, and there was a gas station next to that, and there was this big-ass amphitheater that was a drive-in. I saw The Wiz that night with my parents.
I saw The Witches with my grandmother, and it was actually a double feature. I got to see this one movie. I don't remember the name of it, but it had Chuck Norris and Steven Seagal in it. And it was one of the very few movies where Steven Seagal was a bad guy.
Yeah.
So I remember that one very much. But it was like, but again, those little things that just like, you want them back. You want them back so badly. And yes, for most people, it's kind of like old men just recalling the glory days, but it's also something that just brought families together. It's like we spend way more time on our phones than in front of another person. It's crazy to me.
It is. All right, we're up against the break, but thank you, Victor, for your random musings this afternoon. I truly appreciate it. And don't be surprised if we do this again tomorrow and pick up where we left off.
My pleasure, Snowman. My pleasure.
A pause. When we come back, a conversation I had with Dan Levely from the Dan Levely Show. Back after this. The thing is, until you can erase 3 Februaries, shut up.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
Thursday nights are wrestling night on CSTV. Tune in every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific to see all the amazing Next Level Pro Wrestling stars on Thursday Night Throwdown on CSTVNow.com and the CSTV app on your Roku device.
PK Tire Pro is your one-stop on-the-spot auto service headquarters for a complete line of quality tires and auto services. For years, we have provided the Stockton, California area with the latest products and unprecedented services for everything we sell. And for years, our customers have been coming back. Take a look around. If you don't find what you need, visit us in Stockton, California. From the latest and best in tire technology to the services required to keep your vehicle looking good and running great, PK Tire Pros can get you out on the road quickly and at an affordable price. Stop by soon to see why so many people consider PK Tire Pros to be the one-stop shop for all of their tire needs. At PK Tire Pros, our friendly and knowledgeable staff, quick and dependable service professionals, and affordable prices all come together to make driving out on a new set of tires easy. On top of that, we never tire of tires. Stop by and see us, and you'll be glad you did.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
Oh yeah, the Snow Show continues on this Monday, and we are presented by SeatGeek. If you are looking for the best way to experience live sports, then SeatGeek is your answer. I keep forgetting to push the button. SeatGeek has you covered. With just a few taps on your phone, you can find the best seats for concert, sports, theater, and more. Don't miss out on unforgettable moments. Download the SeatGeek app today and get ready for an experience like no other. Each ticket is vetted for authenticity and ranked on a 1 to 10 scale. And right now, if you use the code Snowman, you'll get $20 off of your first purchase. For those of you watching on YouTube, the link is in the description box below. And that's only through the power of SeatGeek, where fans can fan. Speaking of fan, here's a fan of my programming, and I am a fan of his and a fan of the man here. That's Dan the Man Levely, and he joins me right now on this Monday edition of the Brian Snow Show. What's up, Danimal?
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for having
good,
me,
man. I hung out on your show. We had a fabulous time. I can't wait to do it again. I had to have you on my show. What got you into doing a radio show, doing a sports show? What got you into that?
Oh, well, I did my sports show, Bet That with Dan and Ja. It was just pretty much me and him. Like, we dabbled in, we had a movie podcast that we had together. It was us and like 7 other people. Mm-hmm. And that was short-lived because it's 7 other people, and you know how things go that way. Yes. But it was, so me and him just linked up and said, "Hey, do you want to do a sports podcast?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, so it was just pretty much 2 friends just getting together and talking about sports and what we thought, and we just decided to do it live on the internet.
Do it live. Boy, I know that. So I know that very, very, very well. That sounds so familiar. How long you been doing it?
I think Bet That's been going on for almost a year now.
Nice.
But I've been podcasting for about 3 years now. So.
Cool. I know getting into the business of podcasting is something else. Where are you from originally?
I was raised in Sanford, Michigan, but I grew up in Saginaw, Michigan.
Michigan boy, and I see you sporting the Lakers. Lakers.
I get a lot of flack.
Listen, Dan is one of my favorites. He hangs out on the morning show when he has time, and he throws like little comments at us that have us going back and forth. But he's a very, very dear friend. Love talking to him. What made you a Laker fan?
It was Magic Johnson. I grew up idolizing Magic Johnson.
There you go.
And he was it all stems back to Michigan State. I'm a Spartan at heart, so
That's good.
And Magic Johnson was my idol growing up, and so I just became a Laker fan. I was a Bulls fan briefly because of MJ, but I was just kind of like I like both of them, so I was kind of just back and forth.
I got you. Listen, my first favorite player was Julius Erving.
And Dr. J, yeah.
Yep, my first favorite player was Julius Erving, and my mother, rest her soul, grew up made me a Showtime Laker fan because she loved Magic Johnson and Abdul-Jabbar and James Worthy and those guys. So, Dad said, "There's no problem in you liking both the Sixers and the Lakers because you have favorite players on both teams." And then Michael Jordan showed up in 1984, and all of us were going, "What?"
Right.
I knew he'd be a great player when he was at North Carolina. I mean, how can you not be when you have the nerve to take a jump shot in front of 60,000 people for a national championship? And that wound up being the winning bucket for the national championship, and that legend was born.
Right.
What was it about Magic Johnson that made you a fan?
It's the way he plays. It was pretty much the way he dishes, he passed. He played with style. It was like, it wasn't the trash talk, style. Like I'm gonna like obnoxious. Right. It was just like it was the dishes and it was the passing, the way he facilitated. And he was a scorer back in Michigan State too. People don't realize that, but he was a pretty good scorer too.
He was a great scorer in State.
It was just the way he played the game, and it was beautiful to watch. And I was like, this one, and I would just watch him, and I go, all right, get his footwork down, and then I would go try and do his moves and stuff too. And I would use that on my game too. So,
and it was just it was just basic stuff. It's just fundamental stuff. I've said often, and you've heard me say it, that the fundamentals in today's NBA are gone, and that's why the game is where it is. And I get so much pushback saying, "Well, these guys are athletic." Yeah, they're athletic, but look at how they play. Look at the style of basketball that they play.
It's like you can take the Dream Team, for instance, on that example, is because the Team USA was like the most dominant basketball team in the world until they got beat by a fundamentally sound Argentina team.
Right.
And then the fundamentals is what destroyed Team USA until the Redeem Team came out, as you can see on Netflix. But the Redeem Team came out, and pretty much Kobe saved the day.
Of course. Of course it was Kobe, and Kobe did save the day on that team. And again, just going back to the fundamentals being missing, because one of my other favorite point guards was John Stockton. And the way Stockton would initiate the offense, he wouldn't walk up the floor like you see people do now. He'd run. He'd dribble. He'd be dribbling basketball, and he's at full tilt, getting the Jazz in their offense immediately. That's what I love. John Stockton, Mark Price, Kevin Johnson, Magic Johnson, they didn't walk up the floor. They ran. Maurice Cheeks, they didn't walk up the floor. They ran up the floor.
Yeah, it's the up-tempo style. And that's pretty much how we learned, too, when I was younger. It was run. This game's about running, so run. And it was just, it was that. It wasn't take the flashy three-pointers or alley-oops. We were little. We couldn't do that,
I mean, you basketball is a game where you run. You got to be a thoroughbred to play basketball. So you have the ball in your hands. You're the quarterback of the offense. You run. I get so much pushback on mentioning the style of that style of basketball when I was growing up. But listen, when you see the teams that we've seen over the years, and not just the Lakers in Philadelphia and Boston, and later on the Bulls, but the Milwaukee Bucks with Sidney Moncrief. You see the Denver Nuggets and who they have with Alex English. You see the Phoenix Suns with Kevin Johnson. And when KJ got to Phoenix, KJ and Mark Price were teammates in Cleveland. No, a lot of people don't remember this. KJ and Mark Price were teammates in Cleveland, but Mark Price had pretty much won the starting job over KJ. So KJ was shipped to Phoenix. Larry Nance comes to Cleveland. And when KJ got to Phoenix, and I love talking about Kevin Johnson. When Kevin Johnson got to Phoenix, he just took the Suns to another level.
Yep. He had a pretty good lineup around him too. Like Cedric Sabalos was there with him too. So yeah, he had a fairly good lineup. Wasn't Barkley there with him too?
Yeah, Barkley got there in 90. Barkley got there in 93.
Yeah.
And that was the trade that they made with Jeff Hornacek going to Philadelphia. Barkley goes to Phoenix. And then they go to another level. First year that Barkley was there, they went to the finals, but they went up against you know who in a six game war. But matchups like that is what I miss in sports. Period. You know, there's not many rivalries anymore, and I hate that.
I think it's because back in like the late 80s and early 90s, basketball was like, it was a physical sport. It was a contact sport. You could get hit and nothing would happen. There would be no call, no tech. Nowadays, I don't want to say soft, but it is. It's soft. Exactly that.
It's soft play. It's like every play there's a whistle.
And it all started with the hand check. Once they disallowed the hand check, the whole game went soft after that.
Yeah.
Like I miss the days where you can just take somebody out. That's what I did when I was in high school. If someone tried to dunk on me, I took you out.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to happen.
You earn your points at the free throw line.
Right.
You're not getting to the basket. And if you make the basket, hey, pick you up. Kudos to you. Get the 3-point play. But you're not, it's not going to be easy getting to the basket on me.
You're going to earn it.
You have to. Thank you. Thank you.
Earn it.
You have to earn it because we don't see that anymore. You don't see basket being earned anymore. And I'll say it for you. It's soft. I've said it for a long time. It's very, very soft. To use my New York, it's soft, man, and I don't like it.
Right.
I mean, one of my favorite centers of all time, who my mother hated because he played so well against the Lakers, was Moses Malone. Love Moses.
Yep, Moses. Yep.
Okay, Moses would run you over and still had a feathery touch getting to the basket. Moses is the only center I know that could body up Abdul-Jabbar and take the skyhook away from him. He was good. Yes, he was the only center I knew that could do that and do that consistently.
The skyhook, though, that was such a sweet shot. You don't see that nowadays. No one would ever attempt that nowadays. It was so ugly, but pretty at the same time.
And all you had to see was Kareem get the ball on the low block, and all he needed was a sliver of room. Swing left, shoot right, and then when that skyhook was up in the air, you look at your scorecard. Yep, you can put that down in the book.
That's good. It was just so awkward, though.
Yeah,
it was just awkwardly thrown, and it's just like, whatever. He just threw it up and it just went in almost every single time. It was like I tried to imitate that move, and it's just like, no, there's no way. You start at the hip, and then nope.
You can't teach. Well, you can't teach 7'2" and 265.
No, you can't.
Okay, and he worked on that shot so tirelessly. Because, like I said, all you have to do is see him get the ball on the block, and all he needed was like a foot of room. So you'll work one way, swing back the other way, and you're like, oh, hell, here it comes. And it just right in the basket. And he'd do it from anywhere. He would do that skyhook from anywhere.
We're just like, it's insane. It's like one of those, it's iconic shots, like MJ's fadeaway.
Oh, my gosh.
It's just. The finger roll, Iceman's
finger roll with Iceman.
Yeah, it's just one of those
Julia
things.
Serving walking out of bounds.
Yep, crazy.
Iconic, just like you said, iconic shots. And that fadeaway from Michael Jordan was such a weapon.
It was unguardable. It was such a weapon. Yeah, the way just shimmy.
And you don't know which way he's gonna go.
Yep.
You don't know which way he's gonna go.
Yep. You can always tell when he's gonna do it too, because he always rolled his back. And once he rolled his back, he tried to feel where the defender was behind him, and then once he did that, once he knew where you were, it's over.
You forget it. Forget
It's
it.
over.
You know, you were at his mercy. You were at his mercy. The same. So many players that had a post game. One of my favorite centers who was very awkward but used his body well was Brad Daugherty.
Yeah.
Brad Daugherty used his body very well, and he had something similar to a skyhook. He had the jump hook.
Yeah.
You know, standing at 7'1". I miss centers in the NBA, like true
big centers,
big men. Yeah. You know, the closest to a center we have now in the NBA is Nikola Jokic.
Yep.
And he has the most well-rounded game I've ever seen.
And you don't look at Jokic as like a traditional center either. He's not like a big man that bangs down low. He's gonna drop that three on you too. So it's like an evolution of big guys. Like it's you in the NBA, all you're gonna see is 7 feet people here pretty soon.
Yeah,
they're all gonna be running point guards.
They're all gonna be 6'10". They're all gonna be 6'10" and above. Running point guards, looking just as awkward as ever. Ben Simmons, hello. All right. How about football? Who's your football team?
Oh, I love the Rams, not because of the whole Stafford trade, neither. It's just because I get that a lot. I'm like, yeah, you're a Rams fan because of the Stafford trade.
Right.
No, I was a Rams fan back before they went to St. Louis and they were still in LA.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So Eric Dickerson era.
Yes.
Okay. Eric Dickerson. John Robinson era. Henry Eller, Jim Everett, Willie Flipper Anderson.
Like I think Trent Green was there.
Trent Green was there. Briefly. Yeah, he was there. So with me, I love the 49ers. And
are you from San Francisco?
No, I'm from Chicago.
No. Chicago, okay.
And Joe Montana is the reason.
Yep.
And I get teased all the time by my family and my friends. And how can you be from Chicago and like the 49ers? Easy. Joe Montana. And later on, Steve Young. And
Jerry
Rice. when I mentioned Jerry Rice, when I mentioned Joe Montana, they're like, all right. But how can you? And my friends would contact me, and they're like, okay, you sold me. How could you not like Joe Montana and the impact he had on the game?
Like the pass to Clark? Come on. Come on.
That play made me a 49er fan forever. The catch. Because I had so many people in my class pulling for the Cowboys. I was the only one that pulled for the 49ers. And it wound up turning into a bet with my teacher. Like, if the 49ers win, everybody gets cupcakes. You're on.
Okay.
And like, you're on because they're going to win. And I thought, before the winning pass, I opened my big mouth and now I'm in trouble. And I could explain to my mother why I'm making cupcakes. But Dwight Clark saved the day.
Yep.
Out of nowhere, and Everson Walls has got to have nightmares.
Right through his hands.
Right. And you thought it was going to sail out of bounds. Nope. Here comes this guy. You talk about awkward. Everyone says Dwight Clark was awkward, but Dwight Clark was a hell of an athlete. He was a hell of a receiver. And you just see him doing this, bending away. No one has any business bending. And you're like, how?
I think it was one of those catches where he even was surprised he caught it. It was just like what you just reach for it and just hope, and you're just like, it's there.
You just hope against hope that it's there, and it's there, and it's there, and you're like, how did he catch that?
Yes. Wow. Yeah.
Next day in class, we're all sitting there laughing. My teacher's laughing as she brings in the box of cupcakes, and we're all like, okay, good.
They better be bringing those cupcakes in.
Right. Dan Levely joining me here on the program. We're talking sports, talking our favorites. Who are some of your other favorite football players growing up?
LT, like LaDainian Tomlinson, very big
Mhm.
fan of his.
Mhm.
LT, Randy Moss, huge
Randy
fan
Moss.
of Randy Moss. I love Randy
yeah.
Moss. Like changed the game for the wide receivers like forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2 quintessential receivers that changed the game: Jerry Rice and Randy Moss.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
and Randy
I
Moss
grew
was
up watching Jerry Rice. It was Jerry Rice and Steve Young. I followed the Niners briefly when I
Yeah.
started getting into football, and
Mhm.
there was the Singletary era and
Mhm.
Steve Young. Jerry Rice was on the team. I think T.O. was on the team later.
T.O. came later.
But yeah, it's that era that got me into football, and just watching Jerry Rice, it's like you can't stop him. You can't stop
No.
Jerry Rice.
You can't.
Maybe when he was a Raider, but not when he was a Niner.
When he was with the 49ers, all he needed was like one move.
Yeah.
And he didn't even have to make that move.
The stutter step.
He
And
and John Taylor were the masters of taking a 4-yard pass and then turn it into a long run.
Mm-hmm. And you couldn't catch him either. They were so fast.
You didn't think they
0 to
were
60,
that
like
fast.
gone.
Right. You didn't think they were that fast
Yeah.
until you tried to catch him.
Uh-huh.
Like, wait a minute, why I can catch up with this guy and he's pulling away and he's slowly pulling away, pulling away, and you're like, oh, why am I not catching him? Why am I not catching him? And the same with John Taylor.
Uh-huh.
That's
John Taylor, it was the same way.
Same with John Taylor. You take a 4-yard pass and you're right there to make the play. He makes like a simple move inside and he takes off. And you're going, what?
Yep.
And in one game against your Rams in '89, he caught 2 90-yard touchdown passes.
Mm-hmm.
And both times the Rams had the 49ers pinned in their own territory deep. The first one he hits Taylor should have been stopped at the 20-yard line.
Yep.
The defender falls down and takes off.
It's over.
It's over. Tell me about the Dan Levely show. How'd that get started?
What do you want for
It was during COVID, like when everyone became a everyone became a podcaster. That's when it's
True.
But yeah, it started out as it was a podcast called Oops Caught Me Smoking, and it was a cannabis-based podcast.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much all I talked about was cannabis. And I was just like, let's divert, let's grow out of this audience, I still have my followers from that audience too, because I still dabble a little bit while I'm on the show. But it's mostly because I wanted to bring amateur comedians, independent musicians and artists. I wanted them to have like a place where they can come and get their music heard or get their stand-up heard, because I'm a huge fan of stand-up comedy. I was a comedian for like 3 weeks. So I was like, I like it better when other people do it because they're better at it than I am. But I just wanted to get a place where I can get independent artists, like hip hop artists from Saginaw, Detroit, Corpus Christi, Texas, like all these people from these small cities that have they have trouble getting heard. So that's what I wanted to create my show, so I can give them a platform to be heard.
And I love the show. I absolutely love the show. From the first episode you sent me, I've been a big fan of your show. It's a great variety show. It's absolutely a great variety show, and I love it. Dan Levely joining us here on the program. Go check out the Dan Levely Show. It's an absolutely fabulous program. You'll have a fabulous time listening. All the amateur comedians get heard. Amateur hip hop artists get heard. You never know who's gonna be there, but I guarantee you, he brings some great guests, and it's always a great time, just like a great time it was here hanging out with Dan. Dan, thank you so much, my man. I really appreciate you. I love you, and I can't wait to have you back on.
Hey, anytime, man. Just give me a call. Just get a hold of me. We'll set something up.
We'll set something up. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it.
That'll do it for this edition of the Brian Snow Show. I hit the button too soon. I'm so sorry about that. That'll do it for this edition of the Brian Snow Show on a Monday. Hope you all enjoy it as I enjoy bringing it to you. I wish you well. I say God bless, and I will see y'all tomorrow. So long, everybody.